The phenomenal power of the secret melody created by the rhythmical repetition of holy syllable at the subconscious level always remains with us, no matter where we are and whatever we are doing. It keeps collecting the scattered energy back towards its source and keeps the awareness of the Lord conscious and alive. It helps us to become more and more receptive to the silent call of the divine and live in harmony with the rhythms of the universe. At the time of initiation, we may not develop any personal, intellectual, or emotional association with mantra, but gradually, as it becomes a part of our internal rhythm, its presence becomes very intimate and very familiar. It's really so difficult to explain in words its close companionship. We cannot touch it with our hands. We cannot see it with our eyes, yet something that vibrates from it mysteriously takes hold of us and can be perceived from moment to moment. The blessed experience of its mesmeric touch is totally inexplicable. Generally, in our community, all of us have a little group of friends, and within that group, we have some we can really rely in times of difficulty. But still, there are moments in our life when we feel very lonely and very empty, in spite of the presence of friends and relatives. Such moments of loneliness are quite normal for everybody. At that time, if we simply close our eyes and look inside ourselves and get a chance to talk to the indwelling divinity, we definitely feel at peace. The silent communion with the inner self brings so much peace and satisfaction, which is quite incomparable to anything else in the world. Because this silent communion connects us back to the source where we belong. Spiritual intimacy with the indwelling self is indeed most reliable, very dependable, and unconditional. Quiet repetition of mantra can help the person to develop a close relationship with God, the relationship which is honest, unconditional, and truly reliable. My closeness with mantra blossomed magically from the morning of my initiation. I felt for the first time that I had found a friend I had been looking all my life. Although the way my initiation took place was quite incidental, but the moment I accepted it with willingness and faith, it aroused my total devotion for God and faith in mantra. I made no further search. The moment I started reciting mantra with undivided, sincere devotion, I felt its close presence. The holy words of my mantra came to me as Smritir Labda, means recalling something which has been forgotten for some reason. It is the experience of being reminded about something so intimate and so familiar from so many previous lives. It is being awakened to the most intimate relationship with my own inner self. The silent repetition of holy mantra has reminded me of my perennial relationship with the Supreme Soul. It has become my most reliable friend. It has helped me to understand a part of me which had always remained unknown. It is indeed like being born again in the same lifetime. Mantra jap keeps us connected with the indwelling Supreme Soul, who is the source of inner security and guidance. So whenever there is a problem in life and our mind is confused with conflicting emotions, instead of fuming and fretting and analyzing, just start reciting the sacred mantra. This little shift in awareness provides all the strength and answers all our questions. With mantra jap, we come in contact with some intuitive powers. Those guide us consciously and unconsciously. Sacred mantra, recited with deep humility, definitely unlocks some of the dormant powers about which usually we are not even aware. Human potentials are enormous. Those remain hidden and unknown to us. Constant repetition of mantra strengthens our bond with the source of life and gradually leads to the understanding of our inherent powers. Anybody who has been initiated in holy mantra and has learned to live in the awareness of mantra, he definitely achieves a state of heightened consciousness and becomes very intuitive in due course of time. The great sage Patanjali has given a long description of the various stages of inner awakening and intuitive knowledge. These stages are Tark, Vivek, Gyan, Pratibha, Pragya and Ritambara. These are the steps from less intuitive ability to increased intuitive ability. People, those are highly intuitive, have actually developed this particular branch of inner awakening, knowingly or unknowingly. They always live in the constant awareness of the divine, and gradually they are blessed with some special intuitive abilities. They are very bright, sharp, intelligent, and knowledgeable. There are some people who plan to go into spirituality when they retire and have some more time. They keep on postponing throughout their life till the last minute, when they suddenly realize, well, that is it. Human life is a great gift of God, and its each moment should be used and utilized with utmost care. If we really want to make some changes in our lifestyle for better understanding of our own self and others, the time is now and today. The beauty of human life is that it's never too late. We can start our spiritual journey anytime, anywhere, and at any crossroad of life. The easiest way to start our spiritual journey is to start with mantra japa. It really doesn't require any special preparation. It requires neither means nor money. Anytime, according to our convenience, we can decide to go for it. With mantra japa, life becomes very pleasant and very relaxed. Love for life blossoms in all respect. Life becomes very peaceful, creative, and enjoyable. The goal of life is to explore our unique abilities and make the very best use of them while living in harmony with others and with our own inner self. This great task can be well accomplished by living in constant awareness of the self. The essential need of the modern society is spiritual awareness and spiritual awakening at the individual level. The outer crisis is a reflection of our inner conflicts. Every individual has to take personal responsibility of going through some ethical discipline. We have to realize our dignity as human beings and seek for some solution, for some orderliness and harmony in life. It is to step out of a particular life frame which we have created around us. It's a shift in our thinking process which actually enlightens our lifestyle, and we start looking at life from a totally different perspective. I like these words of Emerson. He used to say, "A man is what he thinks all day long. How could he possibly be anything else?" Marcus Aurelius, a great philosopher who ruled Roman Empire, also used to say, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." We are a reflection of our thoughts. It's our attitude towards everything and everybody which mirrors our state of mind. It's our thinking process which is reflected in our overall personality. All our choices, likes and dislikes are the products of our mind. Billions of thoughts go through our mind every day and influence our behavior. Every word we speak, any type of work we do, it clearly reflects who we really are. Each thought seems to be connected with some other, and sometime to a series of unbroken parts. All our actions do correspond to our thinking faculty, our sanskaras, our attitude, and the state of mind. So, if we consciously make some positive changes in our thinking process, we can really change our total lifestyle and our overall personality. I like what Omar Khayyam used to say, "I sent my soul to the invisible for some letter of that afterlife to spell. By and by, my soul came back to me and murmured in my ears, 'You yourself are heaven and hell.'" It is the spiritual awareness which accelerates our day-to-day emotions towards the journey of self-improvement at the psychological and physical levels of awareness. And spiritual awareness comes in life by staying in touch with the Spirit, the ever-awake being. God is the innermost being, wrapped up in so many layers of our consciousness. To be in touch with that indwelling Spirit is really possible by vigorous discipline of mind, which is cultivated with the help of mantra. The constant repetition of the holy mantra brings a new direction and gives a new flavor to our life. Physical and psychological change is perceived in due course of time, and a new person is born from within, the type of person we always wanted to be: fearless, confident, compassionate, kind, and lovable. Mantra jap is the most convenient and most fulfilling and most rewarding form of God worship, especially suited to the busy schedule of people living in modern societies. As we see in journal, people say that they want to change their lifestyle, but they don't know how. They want some spiritual guidance spiritual intimacy, but they don't know where to look for it, or they don't have time. Our great sages have known these human weaknesses all along. That's why they have described many alternative methods for God realization and self-realization. In Mahabharata, the sage Vyasa says that the spiritual growth which a person achieved through meditation in Satyuga, through yajna and dedication in Treta, through worship and devotion in Dwapara, can be really attained and accomplished in Kali Yuga by simply reciting the name of the Divine. The holy mantra, which is the name of the Lord, keeps calling upon God no matter where we are and what we are doing. It keeps us connected to the source of life where we belong and guides our path through all the ups and downs of life. It gives us company everywhere, and then over a period of time, it becomes our most reliable and sincere friend. As we notice in our modern, progressive, commercially flourishing societies, that most of us are very lonely. You know why? Because we have lost our mutual intimacy with the indwelling Supreme Soul. Loss of connection with our own inner self shows itself in our loss of mutual relationship with others. This reminds me some beautiful lines from Buddhist philosophy as described by Nat Hana. He says, "When we touch the Holy Spirit, we touch God, not as a concept, but as a living reality." There is a deep malaise in our society. We can send email and faxes anywhere in the world. We have pagers and cell phones. Yet, in our families and neighborhood, don't speak comfortably to each other. There is a kind of vacuum inside. We try to fill it by eating, talking, smoking, drinking, watching TV, going to the movies, and even overworking. We absorb so much insecurity and violence every day that we are really like time bombs, ready to explode anytime. We definitely need roots to be able to stand straight and strong. If we find a way to cherish and develop our spiritual heritage, we will definitely avoid the kind of alienation that is destroying our societies, and we will become peaceful again. Our whole stereotyped life shows that we are trying to prove something to others. Jealousy, greed, and peer pressure is increasing in our societies. Desire for one thing leads to desire for another. And as we keep adding things to the long chain of insatiable ambitions, we slowly but surely start feeling trapped. The more we run after material comforts, the more we are isolated from our own inner self. The more we ignore the voice of the inner self, the more we are separated from God, who gives us strength and protection. I like what our holy sages used to say. Not only by means of wealth can a man fulfill himself. He definitely requires other dimensions, which he has to develop, and that is spiritual self. He has to learn to develop an intimate relationship with the Supreme Self. It's our separation from the indwelling self, which is the cause of our loneliness, our smallness, and of course, our unhappiness. Unless we know who we are and what do we want, nobody can really help us. This reminds me of some words from Russell's essay. He writes, "In the course of my various travels in America, I have been impaired by a kind of fundamental malaise, which seems to be fairly common and which poses a difficult problem for the social reformer. Most social reformers have held the opinion that if poverty were abolished and there were no economic insecurities, the millennium would have arrived. But when I look at the faces of people in opulent cars, whether in your country or mine, I don't see that look of radiant happiness which the aforesaid social reformers had led me to expect. In 9 out of 10 cases, I see instead a look of boredom and discontent and an almost frantic longing for something that might tickle the jaded plate. This is what we call spiritual poverty and lack of spiritual intimacy. It is this spiritual poverty that has led millions of people around the world into deep frustration and have forced people even to give up their lives. A similar experience has been described by Dr. Radhakrishnan when he was visiting US. He writes, "During my visit to United States of America, some young men and women came up to me and asked, 'What's wrong with us?' I said, 'If you insist me to tell you the truth, it is that when your founding fathers came to this country, they had abundant faith and a pioneering spirit which helped them to develop amazing economic prosperity. There is a danger that in this material prosperity, you are slowly losing the faith. Loss of faith in God leads to the loss of faith in our own selves, which is the cause of low self-esteem, low self-respect, and lack of self-confidence. I like what William James used to say, "Faith is one of the forces by which men live. The total absence of it means collapse." This is really so true that one of the reasons for the downfall of any community, any country, or any race is the fall in moral and ethical values. The happiness which is preferred over ethics is definitely another form of misery. The fall in moral values is due to the loss of self-respect and loss of faith in Supreme Self. When people lose their touch with themselves, they lose their touch with everybody and everything else around. It may sound puzzling, but this is the truth. When we are at ease within ourselves, we are at ease with others also. When we love and respect ourselves, we are definitely respectful to others also. It is a good understanding and appreciation of the self, which allows for a friendly and respectful relationship with others. At the deeper levels of consciousness, we are all united and bound by one inseparable thread, the God in us. It is indeed so true that when we rise above the masks of the conditioned self, we see God in us, and we see God in the entire creation. When a person feels connected with the indwelling self, the love, respect, kindness, and genuine care for the entire humanity shows in anything he does. He always keeps the global welfare in mind. The ideals of an enlightened person are supportive of universal life. A person with close, friendly, spiritual relationship with the higher self is the one who is able to develop a comfortable relationship with the entire world, which includes all creatures, human beings, and the entire environment. That's why our sages have said all along that a person's inner state of mind can be judged by his attitude towards himself and to everything and everybody else around. The mass disaster, which we see all around us, indicates the inner turmoil and insecurity of man. It shows clearly that we have lost respect for ourselves and for almost everything around us. As we notice in our educated and so-called cultured societies, most of us are self-centered and selfish. We create tons and tons of garbage without realizing where would it go. For example, in America, the disposal of garbage is becoming a real problem. They are using pressurized deep injection wells at some places to dump the waste. But they don't realize that by using this pressurized method, they are contaminating the water for the coming generation. But who cares? We pollute lakes, waterways, and air all around us. We cut more trees than we plant. The reason for all this is because we have lost touch with ourselves and we have lost touch with the Mother Nature, the primordial Mother who has taken care of us for millions of years. It is really important to remember that the entire universe is mutually connected. The entire work order in nature is very closely related to the activities of human beings. The reservoirs of earth should be used wisely. The Mother Earth can definitely satisfy the basic needs of everyone, but not the greed of people. For example, if the man keeps chopping down the trees because he needs wood for fuel and housing, eventually the result is the shortage of wood, food, and rain. The green forests and trees increase the volume of water, and the volume of water increases the volume of food. I like what Tolstoy used to say: work produces food, food produces work. The one is the consequence and the cause of the other. I will repeat it again. Work produces food, food produces work. The one is the consequence and the cause of the other. modern science also believes in the same ideology. The fundamental concept of physics is that when an electron moves, the universe shakes, because everything in the universe is connected with one another. It is the combined effort of everyone that keeps the wheel of creation in motion, where everything and everybody contributes in some or the other way. In old days, there used to be one car per family, and everybody shared it. People cared for each other. But now, in our egocentric societies, where me and mine is becoming powerful, it has made our lives isolated and confined to ourselves. We have lost the ability to share and to live in harmony with others. Most of us are really angry, mad, and frustrated most of the time. Since we don't care for ourselves, how can we care for others? The question may arise, why? Why we are being so insensitive to everything and everybody around? The answer is simple. We have lost our contact with our finer instincts. We have forgotten that our survival and development on this planet completely depends on how we transact with other fellow beings and how we relate to the rest of the environment. When we live in harmony with nature and take care of everything, in return we get full support of nature. This is the definition of Swadharma in our ancient scriptures. Swadharma is to live by the voice of the indwelling Lord. Swadharma is the unique system of values determined by our inner self. It guides us to perform our duties by keeping in mind the welfare of others. I like what Swami Prabhupada says, Swadharma is an inner awakening in man, which guides him to do what is right and checks him from doing what is wrong. It demands the expansion of one's identity with the entire universe. All of us are fragments of the divine, irrespective of the caste, creed, and nationality. Any type of dealing we undertake, project we handle, or advancement we propose, it should be in consideration with the global peace and harmony. I like what Dr. Radhakrishnan used to say. We should never forget that humanity is not a mere organization. It's a living organism, united within by those values which are inseparable from man's dignity and freedom. We break this invisible bond and the body of humanity if we don't see ourselves present in others. With regular, devoted repetition of mantra, we can learn to make some contacts with God in us and can learn to develop a loving and caring relationship with others. We can live with love and compassion within communities and countries. This goal can be well accomplished just by being receptive to the silent call of the divine, with slow, regular practice of mantra japa. The concept of Swadharma is based upon the golden rule of treating others the way we would like to be treated by them. we can treat others with love and respect only if we are able to love and respect ourselves, which is possible only if we love and respect the God in us. The close relationship with God can be developed with prayers and bhajans, but more so by constant, devoted repetition of mantra, by maintaining the presence of God alive in the deepest layers of our consciousness. The presence of God is a reality for those who make effort to develop an intimate bond with Him and make the thought of God a living reality, a personal experience. It's really true of any relationship. Suppose you have a cousin in France and your father once told you about her, although you have seen her picture, but unless you make some efforts to develop some relationship with that cousin through telephone, through writing letters, or a visit to France, the relationship really doesn't exist. Similarly, God is real for those only who make some efforts to communicate with Him through yogic unity and live in the awareness of His presence from moment to moment. In spiritual journey, choosing the right path can be very tough, confusing, and very frustrating. Every day we come across with people from different faiths and beliefs. It's good to listen to others and evaluate their teachings, but as far as choosing the right path, teacher, or guru is concerned, I would suggest that you should follow your own intuition. As Joseph Campbell used to say, just follow your own bliss. By following your own bliss, you will soon find out whether you are on the beam or off the beam. There is something inside every individual which guides and brings the guru and the disciple closer to each other. There are some myths and common beliefs about the guru-disciple relationship, which I want to make very clear. Some people think that after the initiation into a mantra, the person is committed to serve the guru for the rest of his life. It is believed that the disciple is expected to live close to his guru and he is expected to do all the work for his guru. This is really not true at all. Generally, the teacher initiates his disciple and goes away. The relationship between a teacher and his disciple is purely spiritual and at the subconscious level. The guru cares only about the spiritual progress of his disciple. This is what Buddha used to call Kalyan Mitra, noble friend. A guru is indeed a Kalyan Mitra who always helps his disciple on the path of self-realization. Once the sincere promise is made by the disciple, the light of the Guru's guidance always remains with him and leads him step by step into the mysteries of self-realization. Another myth that goes around about mantra initiation is that after the initiation, the disciple is committed to the lineage of the Guru and he is expected to support it. People think that after the mantra initiation, probably they have to support the Guru's mission financially for the rest of their life. That is not really true either. Mantra initiation has nothing to do with any of the material commitments to a certain organization. Nobody is forced to support a faith. The mantra initiation doesn't enslave anybody, it rather brings freedom. Mantra initiation doesn't compel anyone to serve or support any mission. It is completely a matter of choice. A disciple is absolutely free to choose and chart his pathway. A genuine teacher is only interested with the spiritual growth of his disciple. He tries to convince the disciple about the importance of reciting the mantra. It is really not required to stay with the Guru or support the Guru's mission after the mantra initiation. Just the urge of initiation from a teacher, just a slight surrender of ego from the disciple, brings miraculous results. The most difficult step is the acceptance of the fact that there is need of some help for personal peace and happiness, help for self-analysis and self-realization. When the disciple accepts his emptiness, the teacher can perceive it immediately, and he starts showering his grace in so many ways. After the mantra initiation, even if the Guru and disciple are living thousands of miles apart, there remains a constant communication between them. As explained earlier, that mantra jap can really change our lifestyle. Constant repetition of mantra covers our entire thinking process, vibrates in each little wisp of our thoughts, and enlightens our mind. The spiritual thoughts bring peace and happiness. A mind settled in the essential nature of the self becomes very peaceful and radiates inner peace all around. It improves our relationship with other people and with everything around. I like these words of James Allen. A man only begins to be a man when he stops complaining and begins to search for the hidden power which regulates his life. And as he adapts his mind to that regulating factor, he stops accusing others as the cause of his condition. He builds himself up in strong and noble thoughts, stops kicking against the circumstances, and begins to use them as help to his progress and as a means of discovering the hidden powers and possibilities within himself. I am often reminded of these words of Emerson: a political victory, a rise in rents, the recovery from sickness, or the return of a friend can raise your spirits, and you think that good days are coming over you. Don't believe in them. It can never be so permanent. Nothing but you yourself can bring peace to you. It is really so true that we have to convince ourselves that the solution to our problems does not lie much in the help of others. It is within us and within our reach all the time. Our peace of mind and happiness does not depend on where we are or what we have or who we are in society. Rather, it depends on our thoughts, our attitude, and upon the degree of our spiritual awakening. When we learn the art of calming down the waves of our mind with constant mantra jap, the mind becomes very peaceful, and does not pursue the false values. The modern medical science is re-establishing something which was said by a great Greek philosopher of 1st century AD. He used to say that we should be more concerned about removing wrong thoughts from our mind rather than removing tumors from the body. Human body is a vessel of thoughts, and most of our conflicts, diseases, and discomforts are the manifestations of our impure, unpleasant, bitter, and unhealthy thoughts. Mind and body connection is very strong. Every little experience of life is saved in the subconscious mind, and it shows itself in body in so many different ways. We have often noticed how strongly our stomach reacts to a certain shock or a sad news. In some people, the stomach cries in the form of diarrhea, while others may get a heart attack upon hearing a shocking news about their dear ones. Our thoughts indeed have a very close relationship with our behavior, attitude, habits, and how we relate ourselves with others. I am fully convinced by my own experience that any type of treatment given for a disease can help the individual only up to a certain point. The rest has to come from his own inner resources. The real cure has to come from the wisdom of his own body, the wisdom which is controlled by our own thought pattern. A similar kind of statement has been made by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, where he says, "This body is a the field of thoughts, feelings, and emotions." Anybody who wants to improve his lifestyle has to improve the quality of his thought pattern, which comes with spiritual awareness and spiritual awakening. I like what Dr. Paul Brunton used to say, "The divine power is not absent from the world, nor from any situation which can develop in the world." If we really want any change for better at the individual level and as well as at the global level, we have to learn to go back where we belong. We definitely need roots to be able to stand straight and strong. Take refuge in thyself. That is what the word religion means. Re means go back, and legion means to the source. Any sacred prayer, word, or message that links us back to the source of life is religion. We have to learn to purify our thoughts with the help of mantra and be receptive to the silent call of the divine. This reminds me of some beautiful lines by Rabindranath Tagore. "Through birth and death, in this world or in others, wherever thou leadest me, it's thou, the same, the one companion of my endless life, whoever linkest my heart with bonds of joy to the unfamiliar. When one knows thee, then alien there is none, then no door is shut. Oh, grant me my prayer, that I may never lose the bliss of the touch of the one in the play of many." Our happiness in life depends upon opening such medium of communication. When we are at peace and harmony within ourselves, we are in peace and harmony with other people too. We feel less threatened, less jealous, and less fearful of others. Our relationship improves with our relatives, friends, neighbors, and with the entire community at large. The undisputed fact is that any kind of transformation in society, awakening for well-being, progress, peace, and happiness, has to start at the individual level. It has to come from the observance of individual ethical codes. Our present sufferings are due to the lapses from the great virtues and values which our parents, grandparents, and their parents cherished for a long time. As things stand at present, there is a gap which separates us from the Supreme Soul. As soon as we fill this gap with the silent, devoted repetition of mantra, we can really feel the difference. Touch the pulse of that throbbing being who is waiting to be intimated by us, who is waiting to be called by his holy name. Hold his hand and then see all the treasures of the world, happiness, peace, and fulfillment rushing towards you. I have no illusion that mere repetition of the holy name can really change our lives. We do attend a lot of motivational seminars and listen to the sermons at churches, temples, and mosques. But I tell you one thing, that accepting the presence of God is one thing, and perceiving the consciousness of God is quite another. The consciousness of the presence of the Divine penetrates our thinking faculty with slow, constant, regular mantra japa. When mantra becomes a part of our thinking process, it radiates its inherent power. Sometimes the radiance is not visible to our own selves, but others can see it. It definitely shows its miracle in due course of time. Some people become impatient for the rewards right after the initiation into the holy mantra. But we should always remember that the harder we try to see the rewards, the farther we move away from the essentiality of the mantra. Repeat the mantra with love and devotion, just for the joy of the self. Swant Sukhai. Give your mantra reasonable time for total absorption into the deepest layers of your thinking faculty. The transformation will take place automatically. There is no doubt about it. In the beginning, it is very subtle, but gradually it becomes evident to everybody. As we change, the whole world changes with us. Devoted repetition of mantra reflects the nature of God through us and through others. I will like to conclude with some beautiful lines by Rabindranath Tagore. I will utter your name, sitting alone among the shadows of my silent thoughts. I will utter it without words. I will utter it without purpose. For I am like a child that calls its mother 100 times, glad that it can say, Mother.